Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. A talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive James A. Kemp. And we're going to be discussing James's incredible book, The Holy Bible, Stories with the Holy Spirit, Commentaries of God's Beginnings and Our End. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places, man. Type it into a search bar, sit back and be greeted with it all. And I quickly want to take this opportunity and point out the fact that James was brought to us by City of Books. So for my writers listening in, if you need some assistance moving that masterpiece you've just invested countless amounts of hours developing, head on over to cityofbooks.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have James here on the line with us today. People, what if the most incredible story ever told isn't just in the Bible, but is the story of how it came to be written again? Okay, all right, listen, follow me here, okay? Because our guest today, James Kemp, man, he isn't a theologian. He is a former cop, a pilot, and a diver who survived death more times than he can count, and he believes he was saved for one final mission: to write a new summary of the Bible, guided word for word by what he describes as the direct intervention of the Holy Spirit. Man, listen, there are going to be some profound statements you are going to hear today during our discussion, and even more bold statements when you head on over and pick up copies. Trust me when I tell you, there is so much here. We couldn't possibly capture it in a short interview. So what you're going to have to do, by the time we've ended, you're going to run and purchase your copies. And listen, it's a no-brainer, because once we start discussing it, yeah, you're going to do just that. I promise you that much. Sit back, strap in, have your notebooks ready. This is about to be a roller coaster of a ride. James, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you, Benji, for inviting me on your show. I do appreciate it. Appreciate being able to talk about my book.
Absolutely. Listen, man, we are looking forward to this. James, when the opportunity presented itself, we jumped at it. Your book, you are making some bold statements, and we are here for it, brother. I'm looking forward to this discussion, man. I'm telling you, I can't be happier that you are here with us. Let's start off first and foremost. Tell us more about yourself and your background, James.
I'm 84 years old now. I've had a real interesting life. I've spent 25 years in law enforcement. I've been a deep-sea fishing captain, a diver, a pilot. I've done a lot of things I've wanted to do as a little boy. I've been a little boy all my life. So I'm here to serve the Holy Spirit, and I hope that I can.
Listen, the natural follow-up question here, James, I got to ask, man. Your primary writing experience prior to this book was crafting factual, evidence-based police reports. Okay. Well,
that is correct.
We got to switch gears now, man. How did we get here to now writing this book?
About 6 years ago, I had a loved one that was almost to their deathbed, and I prayed very hard to the Holy Spirit to save my loved one, and he did in the same hour. And I think the Holy Spirit thought it would just go back to heaven or where the Holy Spirit was from. But the Holy Spirit stayed with me, and it was very unsettling for a little bit that something so holy from God that it would come to me and talk to me and bless me. So the Holy Spirit wanted to tell me some things, and so I listened, and he wanted me to record them. After I finally got over the shock that the Holy Spirit was staying with me, he started telling me things about things that happened before the Bible was written and starting in Genesis. I'm talking about things that happened a million years before that, and God and his creations and how he ended up coming to Earth and what he found when he got here, and told me about so many things. He told me about the aliens, the Bigfoot. He told me about mermaids. He told me about the dinosaurs and about the giants on the earth. He told me about all those things, and I recorded them, and I didn't know why I was writing these things. He told me a lot about the hereafter, what heaven is going to be like, what we're going to look like, and told me that what's going to be the difference between heaven and the New Jerusalem and people return to earth. And all these things I had to write, and the Holy Spirit was telling me what to write, what not to write, and then he made me go through my Bible. Now, my Bible is 1,800 pages, and I had to read my Bible again, and every story in the Bible, I had to make a little summary, type of summary about the Bible stories. So that took me 8 months to go through my Bible to write these little stories about the things that are in the Bible. I couldn't rewrite the Bible. I could only write a little summary of what the stories are about. That was my task, but being able to write it, I begged the Holy Spirit not to require me to write a book, but it's like Moses. Moses was arguing with God. That didn't do any good, and I didn't do any good arguing with the Holy Spirit. So,
probably not going to get you very
I
far,
started
James.
writing, but it was very difficult.
Arguing with the Holy Spirit probably not going to work in your favor, man. Yeah,
No, that didn't work at all.
you might want to stay good. You might want to stay clear of that. All right. Okay. So, James, listen, man. You brushed over this point, but I'm going to go back to it. You talk about the book beginning before it predates the Bible. We're talking about things that happened, I believe you said, what, 1,000,000 years before?
1,000,000 years.
Okay.
Yeah. God, it starts about how God was created, and that's some interesting things. What if God had a brother? Would that be interesting to read about?
Yeah.
God, when he created Lucifer, wouldn't that be interesting to know something about? A lot of those things that were revealed to me in the book and that I put in the book, and I have read my own book, and I don't remember writing some of the things that's in the book because the Holy Spirit was so involved in my writings. My wife caught me reading the book. She said, "Why are you reading your book? You wrote it." I said, "No, but the Holy Spirit was writing as much as me, and I just have to go back and read what he was saying."
People, listen, man, I'm telling you, this is a book you need to add to your shelf one more time. It's entitled The Holy Bible, Stories with the Holy Spirit, Commentaries of God's Beginnings and Our End.
This one, he even gave me information about what's actually murder and what's just accidentally killing people, if there's sin about that. He also told me what creates a homosexual. Now, that really was interesting because it was such a simple reason that but most people have no idea what causes a child to become homosexual. And they've done many studies trying to figure out why they become homosexuals, and they can't figure out why. But the answer is very simple, and it's in my book.
Listen, the only way to get that answer, people, is to purchase your copies. All right, we're not going to give everything away here. One thing that I do want to give away, though, James, is, listen, man, let's talk to the skeptics out there for a second. And I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this question because, like we joked about a little while ago, is, hey, listen, you don't question the Holy Spirit, okay? So you're given a set of directions and you follow. So you might not be able to answer it, but let's ask the question and see anyway. I'm not throwing any aspersions here, but you're not a biblical scholar, James. And that is presented as a strength in your book, not as a weakness. I'm curious to know, why do you believe the Holy Spirit chose you to be the one to articulate this story?
I think it's because I was obedient. I followed what he told me to do. I was obedient to what he did. And after the book was written, the Holy Spirit wanted me to buy some Bibles. Would you believe that? And so I went through about 50 different Bibles to see what the Holy Spirit wanted me to buy. And he wanted me to buy 500 Bibles. I'll tell you, I did. But I'm going to tell you, I had a lot of conversations with my wife about spending all that money. But I was obedient. He tells me to do it, I do it. And he tells me to talk to people, I talk to people. He sends me to church to listen to pastors. I do that. I don't make any judgments. I just go listen, and the Holy Spirit wants to train me and teach me, and so I have to be obedient.
Okay, so along your journey, not only you had to get 500 different Bibles, you've had to reread the Bible a number of times.
The whole Bible,
Yeah.
yes. It took me 8 months to read it and to write the summaries. And this was 6 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, it's a full-time job. That's a full-time job.
I did, and knowing not how to write anyway and not how to form a book I had my challenges.
James, what was one story or concept from the Old Testament that the Holy Spirit helped you see in a completely new light?
Things like when Moses held his hand up to part the Red Sea. Moses was a servant of God, and he was obedient, but he didn't have the power to separate the waters of the Red Sea. But the Holy Spirit was there. Every story in the Bible, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, the Holy Spirit was part of it. It didn't mention his name in the Bible, but he was there. He was obedient to God. That was that's why he was created, to be a servant of God. Not to man, not to anybody else, but to God. So when God told him to come down and part the seas, he did that. When he told him to go get a moon and bring it back to earth, he went and did that. The Holy Spirit is more powerful than anybody could ever imagine. And he does everything and anything God tells him to do. And I try to be obedient, but I'm not anybody that's anywhere near as holy as a lot of the people in the Bible. Yeah. But the stories of the Bible, this whole book is a dedication and a tribute to the Holy Spirit. People have to understand the first thing that God did when he had his powers was create the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit has been with him for 1 million years before he come to earth. The Holy Spirit knew everything God's done, and everything God wanted to do on earth, the Holy Spirit was doing it for him. Except the Holy Spirit's name has not appeared because he was serving God, not people. But now this book points out all the things that the Holy Spirit was doing since before the Bible was written. And in fact, the whole Bible was written under the direction of the Holy Spirit. It's hard to believe, but no one but the Holy Spirit would have known how the earth was created and what happened when God come to earth. I mean, nobody knows that except the Holy Spirit, and all that writing was done by the Holy Spirit. He had mankind write it, but he was the one that authored it all the way through. There's so many great authors that write so many great books about the Bible and God and Jesus. And my book, I'm thinking, why would I write a book? Because there's been so many great authors out there that write so many good books. But the Holy Spirit wanted me to write this one. This is about the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, pastors won't talk about the Holy Spirit. They don't know anything about him. I don't hear them preach about him and hardly any writing about the Holy Spirit. But he's real, absolutely real. And he's had a lot to do with the formulation of the Old Testament, the New Testament. He was there before the earth was visited by God, and he's going to be there in heaven. He knows what's going on in heaven, why it's being developed, and who's going here and who's going there. And God said he's going to make a new heaven, and the old one won't be remembered. He says he's going to make a new earth, and the old one won't be remembered. The Holy Spirit is there. He knows what's going on. He knows what's being built. And he also knows about the brothers of Jesus, created by God. That's interesting.
You mentioned a moment ago how your book is not the first book to be written about the Holy Spirit, right? About this subject matter. There have been countless of other ones that have been written to date, and probably thousands, if not millions, to be written in the future. My question to you, again, maybe another question that you might not be able to answer right now, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why do you think that this was a message the Holy Spirit wanted delivered now?
Because if I look back in the book of Daniel, the Holy Spirit appeared before Daniel after he got out of the lion's den. He come and and that's the only time the Holy Spirit was been described as far as I can find the whole book. Most people have no idea what the Holy Spirit looks like, where he's at, what he does, or anything. But he appeared before Daniel, and Daniel described the Holy Spirit. And he was telling him about the future. And the Holy Spirit told him not to seal up the words about the future and the end of time. And he says, because it's not yet time for that to be revealed.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit says now it's time to reveal things of the past and of the future, so everybody will know God is real, Jesus is real, the Holy Spirit is real, and everything God said to come to pass, it will come to pass. There's no getting around it. And because of time, I can't tell you some things about the end of time that's coming. I spoke in a church about the end of time and some things that were going to happen, and they asked me to leave and not ever come back. It scared them.
Wow.
So I've been kicked out of a church talking about the end of time because it is scary.
Listen, James, we're going to have to invite you back onto the network, man. That's going to be a topic of discussion for the next time you come around our way. For this time, people, I'm going to leave you with Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and heading on over there. I'm going to instruct you, pick up the book. It's entitled The Holy Bible, Stories with the Holy Spirit, Commentaries of God's Beginnings and Our End by James A. Kemp. The Holy Spirit, written through James as the vessel, has given us a guidebook to the divine. This book proves that profound legacy isn't about titles, but sometimes it's about answering a call, no matter how unexpected that call may be. So if you're looking to see ancient stories in a completely new light, head on over, purchase your copies today, because this one, man, I promise you, it's going to shift your perspective to so much. James, this has been such an honor, man, an absolutely enlightening experience. Keep up the fantastic work, and once again, thank you for being a guest through People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji, for inviting me on your show. I really appreciate it, and I know you'll be blessed for it. I'm blessed just to be here.